Something that's obviously prevalent within any business enterprise is data. Frequently, the practical packaging of business data is into something we'd call an electronic file, or simply put, a file. As a result of that packaging, when we discuss how business data moves in support of an organization's business processes, we're very often talking about file transfer. When put in this context, the flow of information in support of business objectives, it makes file transfer a rather important topic. Now, we could probably broadly group business file transfer into three main categories. The first category relates to how you, as a user, send files to another user. The approach that you're most likely to take is to grab the file, attach it to an email, and send that email to the person you want to have the file. Now, you probably don't think of this as a file transfer, you think of it as sending an email. But that's in fact what it is, a file transfer from you as a user to another user. So we call this category of file transfer user to user or you to you file transfer. Now, you to you file transfer obviously occurs between you and your coworkers, but it's also a mechanism for exchanging files with business partners and customers over the internet. And as you're well aware, there's typically a policy set by your email administrators as to how large of a file you may attach to any email, just as it's very likely that your business partner or customer has a similar policy set for the size of email attachments that they receive. Now, the second category of file transfer is focused specifically on your organization's need to exchange business-related files with your business partners and customers. This is business to business or B2B file transfer. B2B file transfer goes beyond the concept of emails exchanged between users in partnered organizations, and instead it involves both users and server systems or application systems on both sides of the communication. File transfers may be outbound from your organization to your business partner or inbound from your business partner into your organization. And it can involve combinations of users and systems as part of the file transfer process. Additionally, B2B file transfers are typically less ad hoc in nature and more often part of a consistent and even scheduled automated business process. It's also worth noting that traditional approaches to B2B file transfer have involved the placement of a file transfer server in the border area between your corporate network and the internet called the DMZ. Files staged on this server in the DMZ sit exposed to the internet while they wait for their intended recipient users or systems to come pick them up. The third common category of file transfer is really focused on how applications exchange files with other applications, or how application developers or system administrators automate file transfer activity by means of programs or scripts. It's what we like to call application to application or A to A file transfer. It's not uncommon for applications to be integrated by means of a data file generated by one application that's then transferred to a server hosting a different application that will absorb the information in that data file. So, for instance, an application on server A may have data that is useful to an application on server B. The application on server A will be asked to output a batch file of its data into a file that's then transferred by means of a system administrator generated script or developed application to server B, where there's an application that needs that data. The data is then updated into the application on server B by means of some post-transfer process. Now, at Attachmate, when we talk to organizations about the challenges that they're having with this vital data movement activity, both internal and external, the following concerns are commonly raised. The first concern is around security. How are we securing sensitive data in transit? How are we meeting regulatory requirements around the protection of data that our industry defines as sensitive? And how are we meeting our customers' requirements for securing data? The second concern is around reliability, ensuring that file transfers are successful even as file sizes are growing. The third concern is around administrative costs. Provisioning and troubleshooting file transfers are time-consuming tasks that are not typically very streamlined. And unfortunately, these tasks tend to fall on the backs of an already overtasked IT operations staff. And finally, there's an interest in doing more automation, especially as legacy file transfer technologies are cumbersome and require extra coding or scripting to support such things as error recovery and post-processing steps. That is, what additional steps need to occur after the file transfer. FileXpress, Attachmate's managed file transfer solution, is uniquely able to meet the challenges of file transfer security, reliability, cost, and automation with a family of products targeted at user-to-user, business-to-business, and application-to-application file transfer, with technologies that are tightly integrated with each other and that can be integrated with your systems and business processes. So, what kinds of challenges is your organization facing in the areas of U2U, B2B, or A2A file transfer? Are you faced with the need to improve the security of your B2B file exchanges? Or are email policies that limit the size of email attachments forcing your workers to go outside of corporate email to get their jobs done? Are you challenged to reliably automate and monitor the movement of files between disparate platforms in your data center? These are just a few examples of the ways that the challenges of security, reliability, cost, and automation intersect with U2U, B2B, and A2A file transfer. FileXpress is sitting squarely at those intersections and ready to help. FileXpress will work within your systems and processes to address those challenges, improving your ability to meet regulatory compliance mandates, honor service level agreements, and effectively provision and support internal and external file transfers.